this hurts us. And I said, I would say if we were in a relationship, I'm sorry, can you please restate your comment or your question? You appreciated that, right? Right? Okay. So you appreciated that. TT, I can't speak for her. She went another way as well. Again, we know that things get a little bit convoluted with a lot of chatter, a lot of different questions and different things. That's not an excuse. That is a reality. So I guess my thing is, how do we move forward as big boys and big girls, right? And say, okay, this is what I wish you heard, or I wish that you could answer. And as a big girl, I could respond and give you the answer that you needed, or the answer that was true, even if it wasn't something you agreed with. So I guess I just get tired of like, oh, we're the men now. We won one argument. Let's talk about that and keep talking about it for every video I post. It's quite annoying. So that's where it went left. But please note, it's a conversation, it's not personal. Period. So
Hey, appreciate that. I will say this. This is the first video we done. Now we spoke a little bit about it yesterday because I said I was gonna do a video on it today. This is the first video we've done. So
maybe,
what exactly? So
maybe I gotta
and
speak. You mentioned it 2 times. You mentioned it at the end
yes,
of, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yes, last live. And I said I was gonna do a live on the video on Monday. So the first one I mentioned was as a, hey guys, we're gonna do a live on this, and then some people wanted to have their say on it whilst we are doing the panel. So then that had a little bit of a conversation. I said, don't worry, guys, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow.
What
So
about
at
the
this
Married at
point,
First Sight? Wasn't it? Didn't you mention it on the Married at First Sight with? I believe it was. I don't know if it was the daytime or the nighttime. You mentioned
okay, with
it there
Sean,
too. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can't remember.
probably even
Trying to
if I
keep up.
mentioned it there, then okay. I don't even know if
I'm
I
just
mentioned it on there
saying,
about
it just
the
keeps
reference
being,
point.
like I
Yeah.
guess I feel like it's a, is it a win? Do you feel vindicated?
No, but do I not mention how many times that I am wrong and mention about Married at First Sight and say
Okay.
that me and Sean were
Hmm.
wrong for how we handle the women? Do I not mention
Okay.
that several times as a reference point? So you can't use that as a point as if I'm bashing you. I'm not.
Okay.
I use several things as a reference point going back, saying, "Hey guys, we've done videos on this, videos on that, videos on this." We do it all the time about referencing past
Hmm.
things, not just women, men too. And one of my favorite ones is me and Sean, where we consistently tell you we were wrong for the way we handled Married at First Sight. Me and Sean talk about this all the
Yeah.
time. Like we were wrong about it,
Hmm.
and we mention other videos about how we do stuff and do it wrong. So this is not me about me trying to drag anything through the mud. This
Okay.
is more of a case of that. This is a conversation that, oh, we had a conversation about women this. Okay, links to what we just
Right.
had on Tuesday night. We had a situation just like that. Just like when I say, I'm now aware of what happens when it comes to accountability because we had a live,
Hmm.
I think it might have been just the beginning of the year. And I mentioned the fact that um oh, you know, when during that live, women informed us that sometimes they have to explain before they say this is what it is, because for them they have to kind of give that premise. And I always reference that particular thing as, now we understand from our perspective. You get me? So we always mention things that we've grown from. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and we mention things about this, but when you started off by saying you can't come and talk about it, almost in a sense, by because your hands are unclean. Nobody's hands are clean. That doesn't mean I can't say
That's
how I
right.
felt about it. You've invalidated, and by doing that, you invalidated what I was saying when you did that. I don't know if you realize, by you saying my hands are not clean, or not necessarily
Hmm.
me, or saying someone's hands are not clean, you actually invalidate what they're saying to you. Your hands are not clean, but that wouldn't make that you, if I infringed on you, if I had hurt
Hmm.
your feelings, I would not be able to say, well, your hands are not clean, so you can't tell me what it is. If we do that in relationships, we're actually not covering each other, and we're truly not listening to one another. So if you have an issue with me, I can't
Hmm.
next say no one's hands are not clean. It's
Okay.
this is the first live we've done about this live, which I said I was going to do from yesterday. It's not a consistent thing that we have every single time, but I do several topics over and over again. Shoot, we did
Hmm.
Ebony Williams for 5 days. I done
Yeah.
Derek Jackson for 4 days. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if it's
But it's
interesting
your
enough,
business. Yeah, it's your business
we'll have those
to have.
conversations. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
And I
Go
know
for it.
you use it as an example, so I understand that part. And again, for me, if I was I think context is everything too. If I'm in a conversation with you and I am your wife, I think
Mm,
there's a different approach, and I'm not saying people, strangers don't deserve respect, because
mm,
I'm not that type of person. But I think that in that context of being on the phone or on the live for several hours, I wasn't really paying attention. I acknowledged that. And I guess moving forward, I'm like, okay, so this hurts men in relationship. Now, how do we communicate? How do we bridge the gap so that we can be, on the same page? So I guess I just like to focus on moving forward. Um, so yeah, and again, I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings. I'm not trying to invalidate
yeah.
anybody's. It's just my perspective. Everybody has
Mm,
their own voice. And so yeah, I just want to make things solution oriented, not just, oh, this is what you're doing wrong, and then this is what you're doing wrong, men or women. Okay, we're
mm.
both doing things wrong. Now what? That's all.
So
Yeah.
let's stay here because I think this is good. This is good. No, don't go yet, Alice. This is a good point, right?
Okay, I'm right here,
All
baby.
right.
I'm on
In
vacation.
general, let's take this as a like a thing. In general, what you're saying as both men and women are wrong is absolutely right. If we take this as a specific situation which we're addressing from this angle, we're not both wrong. You're wrong. I do not have to
Mm,
put myself in the wrong to make you feel comfortable. So that it's like we are in the wrong. No, no. If we do that, what will happen is I'll become undervalued. I do not have to be wrong alongside you being wrong in that moment just to make the situation good. No, what I need to do is be understanding, not wrong. So if
okay.
in this situation between me and you, where you've offended me, let's say for instance, you haven't really, but I'm just saying in general, if we were in a relationship aspect and you did what you did, right? You're absolutely right. You've done this to the you've said you're sorry, you apologize, then I can give you a solution. Absolutely. If it was a relationship aspect, I would actually agree with what you're
Mhm,
saying. You know what I mean? Right? I wouldn't have to harp on it. Yeah,
mm,
absolutely. But this is not a relationship aspect. This is a YouTube video
okay.
which we're using to help teach other people. I would not use you unless we had a discussion first and foremost. If we were in a relationship, I would have a discussion with you first. Like, babe, it's all right if we discuss what we went through on a YouTube video. I would do that
Mm,
first because I wouldn't want to expose you without having that conversation. You might not be comfortable with explaining some of the things that happened to you to the audience. In this case, we're not in a marriage, not in a relationship, so it's different. But if that was a relationship aspect, I would understand what you're saying. So in
mhm,
that part, I get it. So being solution orientated is fine. I'm also a solution orientated person. But in this reality of situation, when you want to go quickly to the solution, it can make the other person feel like you're really not trying to honor the thing. Yes, I hear you. You said you're sorry, right? Let the person get their feelings out though. And this is actually something that you're doing what men do. Like you're doing what men usually do, which is that men
exactly,
will like, let me get
exactly
over
what.
it and move it. And what is the complaint of women when they say that? What is the complaint women say
No,
that we say,
I'm joking.
you're not letting me express how I feel. So there is a point in time where you have to also allow the person to express what they're feeling. By all means, express how you feel, you know what I mean, and get it out. And then actually, then we can begin to move forward. A lot of men do what you're saying, which is that I'm sorry, babe, I'm done. But actually, that doesn't solve the issue because sometimes that sorry is not it's not allowing that person to also express this is how you made me feel. I need you to understand the gravity of what you've done. And at that point, sometimes you just got to soak it, be cool with it, and then okay, cool. Then we can move forward. Allow that person to vent, whatever, and move forward. That's what I'm saying. So I hear you. I'm with the solutions. I'm with the solution and everything. I don't want you to make it. I don't want you to feel like we're shooting you, but I want you to also understand because what it's coming from my perspective is almost as if we talked on your little bit, your part a little bit. You feel like I'm hitting you, and then you're kind of like, let's just move it forward. And it's like, no, we're highlighting it so we can teach. Why are you trying to move it forward? I'm not even coming at you per se anymore. I'm now talking about as a general principle. How do look at let's look at this example and let's grow from this moment. So that's what I'm kind of saying in that instance. So I'm getting what you're saying as well. I'm trying to understand where
Yeah.
you're coming from. Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate
I,
you.
I
Uh,
agree.